Debbie with Kip's Corner. Welcome back. Sorry it's been a little while, but it's because I've been busy with the birth of my first grandson. So time spent away, well worth it. So I'm back now. Things have settled down a little bit. And today I wanted to bring to you what I think will be in a series. I think maybe perhaps once a month or so. I want to do a series on found treasures. There are so many places to look for cool things to use in your journals. You have shops, of course, like Etsy and eBay and Wish, those types of things. But you also have thrift stores and estate sales and those types of places to look as well. I have lately, I don't know, trying to hit perhaps one estate sale every other week or so. And in our area, on Sundays, estate sales do half price everything. And so while occasionally I'll go on a Saturday, only if the pictures I've found, there's an app called estatesales.net that you can download on your phone. And a lot of the estate sales have a series of images. So every once in a while, if I'm flipping through the images and I see something that I just really want to go check out, I'll go on a Saturday, but otherwise I kind of wait. And my theory is if it's gone, oh well. But if I find some treasures, well worth it. So I want to do, just like I said, a series, perhaps once a month, just talking about found treasures and some of the things to look for and some of the things I've found. And I have in front of you probably a conglomeration of more than a month's worth of finds. And it's not all here. I've got a few things that I've already used. But I thought I'd show you the types of things that I find and kind of what I'm looking for when I do find them. We'll start with this. Is an old vintage brooch. It's gorgeous. And I thought this would be really pretty on the front of the cover of a book. One of the things that I kind of use as a general rule of thumb, my magic number is $1. If I can find something for $1 and have an idea of how I might use it, then it's going to be well worth $1 well spent, I should say. Every once in a while, I spend more than that just because it's a perfect find or it's going to fit perfectly in a book or a journal that I might be working on at the moment. And I'll show you an example of that in just a minute. But so jewelry pieces, good thing to look for. Next, I have a bag of buttons. You know, there's some gorgeous buttons in here. And as long as it's pretty inexpensive, a bag of buttons is always a fun little find, and they're always fun to get and flip through, and as you're using buttons as on top of clusters or things like that. And of course, you may have tons of buttons around your house too. So that's enough buttons to last me a lifetime. Postcards. Now, these postcards and cards, this was a set of illustrated cards. Gorgeous. I don't know. It was brand new. I opened the package. I think there's 8 in here, and they're all different. And those will make wonderful little inserts, or I can even use the front as a tag. And the illustrations are just really pretty. And then it also comes with envelopes, which can be used. And the envelopes have a bonus. They have a deckled edge, which I love, on the flap. So that, you know, I don't even know how much I paid for it, but not much, trust me. And then, so that's cards, greeting cards, that kind of thing. And then postcard. These two I got at the same place. These was a book with perforated postcards in it. This one is Van Gogh, and this one is Monet. And so I've opened up the book and tore them all out. And you have, you know, a bunch of these just really nice, there's my favorite, Van Gogh images here. And I can use these for all sorts of things. They can be used just as an insert, you know, in a pocket in a book, or they can be used as a tag or background paper. Now they're a little shiny. I might dull them down with it just depends on how I'm using them. But postcards. Here's another one that was another book, Monet. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous images of Monet paintings. This one's not as shiny, it's a little duller, but they're also bigger, so you'll be able to do a little more perhaps with these. Again, cut them down as tags, use them as just inserts as they are, you know, for journal spots, all sorts of things that you can do with those. So that's postcards. Next up, books. I tend to look for books that have a lot of nature imagery in them. Here's a little bird book. It's got some cute, it's an older bird book. I don't know what the date is. It's not in here. It probably is somewhere, but it's a guidebook. Oh, here we go, 1956. So it's got some really pretty illustrations of birds, and somebody had marked pages, and you know, you can take like a page like this, you can make a tag out of, or you can take the book apart and use them as inserts, or you know, just pull out just the bird and use them somewhere. So there's a lot of uses for those. The other thing I look for, and I don't have anything in front of me, are vintage books that have neat pages or cool fonts on the inside. And so when you're looking at, if you're at an estate sale, try to pick up the book and flip through it. Here's another one. This is actually the same sale where I got the postcards. This person was obviously very, very much interested in classic artists. And so this is a book on Impressionism. And as you flip through, there are these wonderful images. The book has some nice, pretty patina in it. And it's just it's a little tiny thing. And I actually could not find a copyright on here. But again, just a fun little book, little tiny guy, not a whole lot to him, but I always pick these up and look at them and look through them. Then another type of book, this is not something that I would have normally picked up on my own. I would have been like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I was at an estate sale, and I am actually getting ready to work on 2 commissioned journals. I've already started them. 2 commissioned journals for a student and teacher's trip to Europe. And so I thought, well, this can be pulled apart and I can use these pages as an insert, you know, a couple of them inserted. Now, when I'm looking for these types of books, and really any type of book, if it's a book like this where I'm going to probably use individual pages, I'm not as concerned about whether or not it's glued or sewn. This particular one is glued, which is fine for what I'm going to use it for. But in this case, I got this because for the quarter or whatever it's cost me a dime maybe, it was worth it to be able to pull these pages apart and use these sheets, you know, as inserts, as actual pages in the journal. But in order to be able to do that well, or easily, I should say, I want them to be sewn. So I look for sewn bindery so that I can come in here and just snip these, and I haven't messed up the pages or anything like that. So that's books. The next thing that I look for, particularly at a estate sale, is anything that looks really old. Pick it up and see what it is. So here you have this sitting on a table, and you're like, what is that? Well, it's this cool carbon paper pad from C.J. Hewitt Nationwide Service Grocer. It's a grocer's receipt pad from the 1930s. The date here says 193. So it's from the 1930s. And every other page is a carbon page. And then it's got this this great piece on the back. All accounts must be paid in full when due, no balance carried. To our customers, this I thought was hilarious. You need your money and I need mine. If we both get ours, it will sure be fine. But if you get yours and hold mine too, what in the world am I going to do? Think it over. A smart advertiser can get a customer once, but it's the goods that bring them back. We handle that kind. C.J. Hewitt, Maplewood, Missouri, we deliver. So it's just a great, awesome little pad that'll be fun to use for tags and background, and just kind of inserted in a pocket as ephemera. So you look for those types of things as well. Take your time. Make sure that you take a minute to pick things up and look at them, because you never know what treasures are going to be hidden. Back to books real quick. While I look for books that I can pull apart or use pages from and that kind of thing, occasionally I come across something where you can't pass it up. This is a Norman Rockwell 60-year retrospective, and it's just got these wonderful images throughout. Now, some of these pages are really big, and I haven't quite thought through how I might use these bigger full images. I will definitely give it some thought, but it was too beautiful to pass up. I mean, look at this. This can be pulled out and put on a tag for a Christmas journal. You know, it's the Christmas scene. Sorry, there's a glare there. And in the back, and see, you've got some smaller images too that can definitely easily be used without any problem at all. Then there were actually two of them, because, you know, one's not enough. You got to get two. This one's heavier, thicker. It's Norman Rockwell Illustrator. And neither one of these books are old. It's just that they've got these wonderful images in them. And this one in the back, which I thought was cool, if I can find it, has these small little images of his Saturday Evening Post illustrations, cover illustrations. And these are wonderful to, you know, it's kind of like little stamps, right? Those will be fun to use in different things. And so, and it's got different years for them. Let's see, here's more. This looks more like what we're used to. That style of the font for the headline for the Saturday Evening Post. But then this goes back to older. And it's just page after page of these little thumbnails of the Saturday Evening Post illustrations. So that will be wonderful to use. And, you know, that's the other part of that is that's if I decide to pull these apart. I may flip through them in more detail later and decide that this is a really cool book and I don't want to touch it. But if I do, I definitely have some ideas for how I can use those. So that's big books, little books, books with, for me, books that are related to nature. Those are always first thing I'll grab, and books that have cool images in them. Okay, let's talk about linens. I just drool when I go to estate sales and find beautiful handkerchiefs like these. And again, I won't buy them if they're overly, you know, if they're not really inexpensive. I look for beautiful, this actually I think is a napkin. Those were hankies. Here's some little doilies. I mean, how adorable is that? And then these can be used somewhere. Here's another one. And then here's a sort of a bigger, I can either cut that apart or use it whole somewhere. Don't know, have to play with that, think about it. But the point is they're vintage and they're beautiful. Here's another napkin that I absolutely fell in love with. Look at the blues on that, it's gorgeous. Not napkin, excuse me, handkerchief. And here's the handkerchief that's got, it's handmade. It's in, is that cross stitch? No, it's not cross stitch, it's like needlepoint. It's a needlepoint rose on there. I mean, how beautiful would that be used? I like to use vintage handkerchiefs as pockets on the inside and of my front and back covers. So I'm always looking out for those. If you're at an estate sale a woman who was around when napkin or handkerchiefs were popular, chances are you're going to find a few. And so they're absolutely beautiful, beautiful texture on those. But then I mentioned earlier on in the front of this video about eBay. eBay is a great place I'll search things like Reader's Digest condensed books, or vintage lace, vintage doilies, those kinds of things. And again, I'm looking for lots. And when I'm on eBay, lots of several of them, where with shipping, mind you, with shipping, the cost is going to be, no more than like $1 a piece, depending on what it is. But that's that's sort of a very general rule of thumb. And this is an example of some linens that I've recently gotten from eBay. And look at that. It's just beautiful, worn and stained. And to me, that's gorgeous. Here's another one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And so I'm constantly looking, not constantly, once a week or so, I may spend 30 minutes kind of flipping through some things on eBay, put some things in my watch list and just kind of see what happens to them. And so I won't flip through this whole pile, but you get the idea. There's just some really cool, this one, I gotta show you this one. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this yet, but this is so pretty. And it has this soft, luscious feel. It's just gorgeous, I love it. So those are the types of things that I will look for. And again, I'm looking for a bargain. I'm not gonna spend much money, but I want some really cool stuff. So that's vintage linens, and there's a nice healthy stack in here from several different places. These will be fun to use in different places. But I have enough now, I think, for a while, because I have more. The other place to find treasures are stores. Look for sales. Look online for sales. Look at your local Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, and Tuesday Morning. This is an example of some little envelopes, that little pack that I got at Tuesday Morning. They're a perfect size to, maybe do some collaging on, and you could just glue them in a book or use them as an insert in the book. And they're adorable, and you can have a lot of fun and play with them. I think this whole pack, I don't know how many are here. How many are here? Is there 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's 8. Did not spend very much on it. So if you are lucky enough to live near any of the craft stores, and I don't have anything in my sample pile here from thrift stores, but those are also sometimes, my thrift stores I'm never as thrilled with. It feels like I have to be there more often in order to find, it's like needles in a haystack kind of thing. But when you hit a jackpot, you hit a jackpot. So they're worth stopping in every once in a while. And I also mentioned, online shopping. Online shopping is a great place to, hit sales and get some really good deals. And then there's also an app that you can download to your phone called Wish. Wish is primarily items from China, and you do have to be careful that, do your research on what you're purchasing and make sure that the likelihood or likeness, I should say, or the images that are used in whatever it is they're selling is not something that's been stolen from an artist. Just kind of just know what's out there, know your stuff. But this is an example of a set of postcards. These are gorgeous, that I got from Wish. The box is awesome. I don't know. I should be able to do something fun with the box. And I know that I've seen these out there. Oh, there's one more in there. And since I do so many botanical / nature, again, these are postcards, but they can be cut into tags. They can be used as inserts as is, and they are absolutely gorgeous. And from what I can tell, these are all public domain images that were used on these, printed on these. Some of these images I recognize. And so hopefully that's for real what it is. But I'm 99% sure. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So that's another option. I won't bore you with any more, but if you kind of like looking at this type of thing and you like this episode and you want to see some of the treasures that I've found, you know, I remember I read someplace a meme that was like, crafting is a hobby, but buying craft supplies is a hobby all its own. It really can be, it can be a fun part of this too, is that treasure hunt, you know, hunting for the cool little things that you find. And like I said, estate sales is one of my favorite places, but then all of those other places as well. So that's that. If you like the series, let me know, and I will kind of continue maybe once a month or so and just show you what I've found, what treasures I've unburied over in that course of that month, and we'll have some fun. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions or any ideas of things that you'd like to see, or give me a challenge. Ask me if I can find something, and we'll play around with it. Meanwhile, I hope everyone has a safe and happy upcoming holiday. It's not that far away. First one's not that far away. We've certainly all been seeing it in the stores for a while, haven't we? And Christmas is just around the corner too. So safe and happy holidays ahead, and bye for now.